Alright, welcome back guys to the final episode of Demo RPG, at least final public episode, more at the end. Alright, so this is what we have so far in our main, implementing our library, doing our thing. It's the loop as you saw from the end of last episode, which maybe you've seen, maybe you haven't, but I've been playing Warrior here because they are kind of OP, and also not everything's fleshed out, but the Warrior at least gets level 3 abilities. So things are dropping, we got a character sheet, we can equip stuff, we can use potions, we get a couple starting items. I'm going to equip all that stuff. Nice. That's a nice start right there. Oh, we got a one-handed sword too. Okay, so we've also discovered that swords are OP because there's no other way to increase your damage unless you get lucky and get the melee weapon drop. But, you know, that's just the naiveness of our design. So this is like an OP run already. We just one-shot that monster and we got some gloves. Okay, so we have a ton of armor. We are decked already. Let's see if we can get abilities working in combat. That's going to be the main thing this time. And I would like to have time to work out the buffs and stuff, but there's so much I want to do, but there's just not time to do everything, so we just gotta pick and choose. Like, I'll quickly go over what I would like to do. I would like to flesh out the monsters more, give them abilities, give them a little AI, because right now they're just hit points and some attack damage. That's literally all they do. I would like to flesh out the random items to do more cool stuff and have more variety. I would like to make this an actual graphical game where you can walk around and it has music and sound effects and all that cool stuff. But there's just no way we have time for that. Let's go ahead and get some abilities working. So mainly this is going to go off these fight sequences because we aren't really going to use the abilities anywhere else, at least for now. Maybe we want to be able to use like the cleric's heal ability out of combat. But for now, we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to do combat only. So the main thing we need to do is we just need to show the option. So currently, when we're in combat, it's the whole fight sequence. And while we're alive, and this is while it's our turn, basically, we get these options. Right now, we have attack or inventory. So now we're just going to say you can press B for abilities. And we need to do this. We need to enter some kind of ability selection. And alright, so we need to design this ability function. So let's make this a bulk enter ability selection. Maybe we'll say combat ability selection. So basically what we want to do is go through the main character and see what abilities they have that are not on cooldown. So we can do that by first getting the list of abilities. Let's just temporarily get a list here. Current abilities equals main character dot us dot get ability list. And if we go look at this function, we can see what it does. It's similar to the get item list that we were using last time. The const didn't seem to have as much effect on item pointers as I thought. Well, this is not pointers though. This is actually going to get us a vector of abilities, but it is going to be a copy. It says it returns the player.abilities, but it's a copy of their abilities. So we got to think about this a little bit. If we look at these abilities, you can see what all they have. We're going to get a copy of a list of these. So we just need to display them basically and let you choose one. So let's just do that. Let's start by displaying them. We'll just call it for bill and current abilities. And we'll just show them all. Some standard C out for now, because that's what we've been using. And what we should probably do is let you be able to select one. So let's have a selection integer. The inventory, you can basically move your cursor. Should we do the same thing here? Yeah, I guess we will. So let's take all this same code basically, and yeah. Well, the selected item is going to be about the same actually, but we're just doing it on abilities instead of our list of items. Now, the thing is, of course, with the items, you actually use them up so they disappear. With this kind of stuff, obviously you don't use them up. They might go on cooldown though, so we have to work on that. But most of the stuff's going to be quite relevant. Selected. Let's change selected item number to selected ability. And same thing, we're going to stay in here until we're either done or an action was used. Do we need to refresh this list? I'm not sure if we're actually going to in this case. So let's just leave that off. And we'll say current abilities here. But as you can see, you might kind of notice a trend here. Once you work out one system, sometimes the other systems are very similar. So there's a lot of times where once you get one thing figured out, the rest of the stuff comes a lot easier because it's kind of similar. It's just you gotta adjust things a little bit. Okay, we need this to be abilities and list count, I guess, this time. And we'll change it to that. Change this to abilities. use the selected ability. We'll use that same cursor. And oh yeah, I was talking in one of those episodes about the ternary operator. That thing returns. So if we want to do it this way, what we would have to do is go standard cout and then put the operator. It actually wouldn't look too bad. Like this, and then like this. So this would be how you do it, which is a lot less code. So it would basically, you do the cout, and what are you couting? Whatever it returns, it's either this one or this one. So if it's true, this one, it's false, this one. So that would be how you use it. And yeah, that's definitely a lot cleaner. Okay, and we need to display the abil name. So it'll just be abil.name. We just display the name. No pointers here. Yeah, this function is definitely going to require some improvements. Probably it might be. Well, I wanted to say it's going to be too slow, but we're just doing little console stuff. Even if it is a tiny bit slow, we're not going to recognize it. It's such a small amount of data. Okay, so we say the ability's name, but instead of, you know, quantity or anything, we probably want to say the cooldown, I guess. And what else? Not only the cooldown, but its cost. So we could say stuff like that. So let's just do that. Let's go cost. Hold on, I need to look at abilities again. Let's take a look at these abilities. I'm gonna go deep into this ability. Okay. Assume MP if there is a cost. So most things are not going to have a cost right now because we don't really have MP that well fleshed out. We're not working on casters really too much, but they're definitely going to have a cooldown. So we could display some of this stuff. I think we're just going to display whether it's on cooldown or whether it's ready. And we need to keep track of that too. So we need, if we use something, we need to keep track of how long it's been so we can see when we can use it again. That's going to be a little bit tricky. We probably should design that actually within the ability or something like that, like how long it's been on cooldown, because we have basically overlooked that since we don't need it. Let's get rid of all this code there, and instead we'll just say cooldown left. And we're going to have to work this out a little bit. Or maybe we just don't display it if it's on cooldown. But in any case, as we go through rounds, we're going to have to reduce the cooldown count or increase it, or however you're doing it, because we need to show it when it's ready. So that's something I got to think about here for a minute. All right, so this cooldown problem where we need to keep track of cooldowns, but we can't actually edit these current abilities because we're getting a copy list, presents a bit of a problem. And now this is the point where you can test your C++ knowledge, because you can ask yourself, how do we solve this problem? And see what you can come up with. And if you can't come up with anything, you probably need to learn a little bit more and understand a little bit more. You know, that's just an example of when you're working on a project, things like this come up and you got to come up with a solution. And sometimes it's a great test to see if you even have the ability to come up with a solution. And that's all it takes sometimes. A lot of times all people want, I don't know, say managers or something, all they want is they want you to be able to come up with some kind of solution. It doesn't need to be the best in the world, just needs to get the job done. Well, there's several different things we could do here that come to mind. We could, I don't really like any of them that are coming to mind. The best one I'm thinking of is to basically do what we did with items, where we change these all to pointers instead. That would also improve the efficiency in general of this sort of function. But that's going to be a lot of library work, because basically what we got to go do is go to our player character, and wherever our list of abilities are, we would need to change this to a pointer. All right, and that's going to cause a lot of errors, which is exactly what we want, because we can hit build and we can see exactly where we need to change everything. A little compiler error driven architecture here. And we just got to flip through and fix all this stuff. Well, we can't fix X memory because that's part of the standard template library, but we want to see where in our class we're doing stuff wrong. Now this is mainly going to be in the CPP files. Okay, so we changed that. Let's just go to abilities now, or I guess to player character, and just see where all it has errors. This needs to change to returning a pointer, and we need to update this and the header as well. Get ability list, where are you? Same thing there. Okay, so there's one thing. Let's go ahead and hit build again. Obviously, it's not going to like the pushbacks or anything, or the add ability. None of that stuff is really going to work properly anymore. So let's go to our warrior first. Let's check out our warrior. And I'm just going to collapse some of this down. And here where we do in place back. Now we would have to in place back new memory. So we would go new ability. And that should be happy, because it will just construct like so. We can do that for all the classes. This will solve the majority of the errors, just going through these 4 classes and doing this. And what this is going to allow us to do is basically the same thing we were doing with our items, where we could go find the data that it's being pointed to and change stuff. And you'll see why here in a minute, why we'd want to do that. Because I think what we're going to end up doing is refactoring these abilities a little bit. Now, we don't want to have to go through the whole route of making an ability manager like we did with the items, because we're not going to be able to like move abilities around or anything like that. They're just going to be locked to a character, so no need for all of that. But we do want to be able to change the cooldown stuff, because that's going to be relevant. Okay, let's hit play again. It's like we already solved the majority of the errors, just a few left. Okay, and the rest are not too bad. Okay, so that was it. The rest are just we haven't updated this function. So this should be selected ability, comparing to the current abilities dot size. Okay, and the use there is, we'll figure that out here in a second. But right now we should at least show the name of abilities. So let's just test this out, see if this builds. Okay, so let's jump in with a wizard. Oh, we got a bit of a crash. Okay, so something was null pointer. All right, fair enough. Let's try it with warrior. Let's see if that's, yeah, warrior's fine. All right, so we're doing something wrong there with wizard. We'll have to analyze that here in a second. It might be where we gained that new ability. So let's see if we can level up here. No abilities. Okay. Oh, we can't seem to exit the abilities, or maybe it's just not updating the display. Okay, so we got a few bugs in there, and we're gonna have to sort those out. All right, so changing our abilities to pointers also broke some of our tests, so we're gonna just fix those quick. Let's build our tests, try to run them, see what happens, and we'll just fix these up real quick. So back into test world, we get some errors and it won't run. So basically, yeah, we're just gonna have to use little pointers everywhere, anywhere we're messing with ability list. And that should pretty much be it. Also, where we test our warrior, we can now check our level 3 ability if we want. So we could go something like this. Gain another 300 XP, 3, they're level 3. Check for power attack. I think we put a space in here now. We have healing surge. And we want to check that their base HP is correct. Okay, let's see if that fixes all that. So let's try to run our test again. Make sure these all pass. We got some fails. So stuff we have changed probably made some of this not work quite the same. Let's address warrior first and see where it messed up. Expected 3, actual 4 on level. Okay, so maybe we gained too much XP. Let's try it like that. Okay, expected healing surge, actual power attack. Oh, because we did front. We don't want the front. This would be the second ability, so it would be at that spot. And let's see if that works. Oops, wrong button. We want to run tests here. Okay, warrior's still not working. We got basically the wrong amount of HP. Looks like we need to do this twice. On the test, so oops, I keep hitting play. Let's hit the test again. Okay, so warrior now passes. Everything's there's correct. It's next ability and checking level 3. All looks good. Let's check equip player. Now we did change some of these in a few previous episodes, so it's probably, let's see which one it failed. Auto backpack size. Oh, trying to equip potions now does nothing, so that's probably why. So if we really, yeah, so this should just, yeah, essentially do nothing. Backpack size should be 0 now. Equipping a potion should do nothing. But it does return false, right? Let's check. Yeah, if it's a potion, return false. Alright, so let's see if that one works now. We'll run that again. Yep, all our tests passed now. Okay, so we straighten that out. I'm gonna go ahead and make that commit. Excitement warrior tests. There we go. Looks good. Oh, I should have put also in there. Let's see if it allows us to modify the message. Yeah, it does. Sweet. So you just right click on it and go to view commit details. You get a message here. Fix item. Oh, no, it doesn't actually. Oh, we gotta click edit. Okay. Item / warrior tests. Hold on, this isn't actually accurate. / ability list now pointer. Okay, so that's a terrible commit because it's 3 different things in one commit, but we're gonna not worry about that too much. So let's go ahead and commit all the ability list changes here, which is all of this stuff. Ability list now pointers. Okay, now we just gotta get our main worked out. Okay, back to the combat abilities. Okay, so now we want to refresh this combat ability list every time we go into this loop, kind of like we're doing with the inventory, because it's going to change a little bit, as you'll see shortly. But another thing we want to do to the abilities here, let's just go to our abilities in the header. So they have a cooldown, number of rounds you need to wait before using it again. Let's go ahead and put in here rounds waited, or something like that. So maybe we'll call it cooldown left. And we want that to basically be 0 all the time if it's ready. So let's just put that in here. Well, we don't have anything in the constructor. Let's go to the CPP. Here's the default constructor, and let's just go ahead and put cooldown left. Set it to 0. That should take care of that. Go ahead and build everything, make sure it succeeds. Looks good. So now that we're working with ability here, ability is a struct. What we probably want to do is make it a class and make it so things can't be modified, because all of this stuff right here, be public, means that the end user can modify it at will, which is a little dangerous. So let's just change this to a class, make everything up here public. And let's also have a private section down here. And let's put this cooldown left up into public. Everything else, I think we want to be private, and we probably want to make accessors to it. And that way people can't just mess with this stuff at will. You have to do it on construction only. Once it's constructed, can't change it. And yeah, maybe you'll want to change it at some point, but we'll address that if the time comes. But for now, let's just make getter setters for like all of these. So I think get cooldown. I guess we're just gonna do them in line here. I don't. Oh. Yeah, we'll type them out. It's fine. What else do we do? We're gonna want get name. That's a string though. I guess we're just gonna want all of these really. And there we go. We got all those typed up. Now we probably also want to do the same thing here, like no discard, because if you're getting these values, you better be doing something with them. Otherwise, why are you getting them? We also want them to be const. They can't change anything. And we also want them all to be no except, and const over here too. So we'll just copy that stuff and just paste it down. It's pretty quick to do. And what we can do is use Visual Studio to generate the stuff in the CPP. Hold Alt and press Enter, and it'll pop up this thing, create definition of, and there we go. We can just return whatever it is. And we can just go down and do that for all of them. Pretty quick. So the buff one returns a pointer, the const pointer. This is a little different because it's, well, I guess it's still the same. But it'll just be a copy of a pointer that you're not allowed to modify. So pretty standard actually, I guess. Now these ability scalars are different. A little different because they return an enum, but it's not too confusing, I don't think. This target scalar is scalar, and last but not least, the cost, and of course just the cost. And now if we don't like the name of any of these variables, we can always go through, do the rename thing with Control R. But yeah, I think we're good here. Cooldown is now exposed. Everything else you got to use a getter. Now that's going to break a lot of stuff in our code. So let's go ahead and fix that up. First of all, let's just build our demo RPG. Make sure everything's fixed here. See if we're getting errors. No errors. Okay, cool. But in our unit test, we're probably going to have some errors. Yep, as expected. Some of them just don't even build now. It says cannot access private stuff, so that's totally expected. And we just need to change these all to get, basically. Get name, get buff. Get buff. It's like going to the gym. Alright, let's see if that's enough. Let's try to build these again. Now we got some more areas where we used it. Specifically looking at the tests here. Let's go up here. Yep. Name, get HP effect. And it looks like we have some more down here at the bottom. Just where we're checking our classes. And where they gain abilities. It's a little bit tedious, but this is the price you pay if you mess up your design early on. Yes, you basically pay the price of refactoring. One of the reasons it pays off to design first and code later. Alright, and there we go. We fixed all the tests. And we'll go ahead and commit those changes. Pretty isolated. Okay, abilities. Mostly private. Use getters, pull down, left, added. Okay, there we go. Push those changes. I guess I didn't necessarily need to push them, but that's fine. Now, if you're real clever, you can go look at the repo and see exactly when I'm recording this by that push time. Now, another thing we should be doing here is, since we're adding cooldown left here, we should also add a test to make sure the cooldown is working. But basically all we're going to do is compare the, okay, whenever you use the thing, let's find it here. Whenever you use the ability, you should set the cooldown left to the cooldown. And then every round, you just do a minus on it. And once it's 0, there's no cooldown left. You can once again use it. If you try to use it or something, you can just see what the cooldown left is. And if you come some kind of special thing that says reset all cooldowns, you can just set all cooldowns left to 0. Stuff like that. So yeah, we should add a test, but I'm going to skip over that for sake of time. So back into our main and back into combat abilities selection. We have made some improvements here that should let us do this a little better. But things are acting a little wonky here. Things are definitely not perfect. And I noticed also we have a bug. So we start out the game by giving the player 2 random items, right? Where is it? Right here. Now there's a chance this drop random item returns nothing or returns null. Let's see. Yeah, if you get, there's like about a 10% chance that it returns null pointer. So that's interesting, right? What if that happens? Then you just get nothing? Yeah, but actually it ends up throwing an error, because if we go into our main, we're just calling move to backpack. And if we look at move to backpack, checks if there's an item or not, checks if there's data in the item. Well, we don't want to do this get item check, actually, because it's hard to explain, but basically if there's an item, or if the item to move is null, if we try to do this, it's going to give you a dereference error and crash. So what we actually should be doing is going like this, and then another case here for this one, so it does it totally separate. Also just return false. Because yeah, we don't necessarily know if this is going to evaluate left to right or right to left. So we're not really going to be able to bank on this. That I think it's undefined. I'm not 100% sure on this, but some compilers will implement stuff like this differently. So thus they'll say it's undefined because your compiler could do it differently. It's not in the specification. I thought it was right to left evaluation, But I could be wrong, because I did see a crash when I wasn't recording on this particular thing. And it was because it was calling this get data when item to move was null. But it was all the way on the left, as you saw. So it shouldn't if it was evaluating right to left. So I don't know. It'd be better to just completely make it separate like so. So take that for what you will. There's a chance you will not start out with 2 items. There's a chance one of them is going to be null, and this will just return false. So this move to backpack will be returning something. We're not even checking what it's returning because it doesn't particularly matter. And it doesn't have no discard, so it's going to let us do that without complaining. Okay, so let's go back up here. Actually, let's just give this a run and see what we get here. I made a wizard. We're attacking. Let's go to our abilities. We see Firebolt. Now, we haven't put the use code in, so it doesn't do anything, but we should be able to hit done and get out of this and go back to our combat menu, but that doesn't seem to be happening. So what's going on there? Let's see, we are in this loop. We have done and action used, and if either of those become true, we should exit this while loop, okay? Oh, and I figured out this operator thing that was displaying a 1. Well, it looks like we have to wrap it in outside brackets. Otherwise, I think it was ending up with just a C out of whether this was true or not, which would be a 1 or a 0. So, looks like you gotta just wrap it in cases like this. So, alright, so let's analyze further down here. We have a get care, switches. Now, if we enter D, it should set done to true, and then break out of the switch statement. And then done should be true, so it should break out of this while loop, turn action used. And then we'd be back down in our main while loop here. We should be going back to fight sequence. I want to change the name of this to just fight sequence. And oh, this must be returning something incorrectly as well. Not sure why, but if this ends up being false, which it should be, action used should be false if we hit done, this should return none, and action taken will be none. So thus we will still be in this loop here, and it should display this little action interface again. But for some reason it's not doing that. So let's hit play again. Let's give it another shot and just see what happens here. Yeah, we just can't get out of the abilities, so why not? Let's combat abilities selection. Let's go to the switch statement. Let's put a break on this D and see if it's even setting it done to true. That seems to be the problem. Let's go fight. Check our abilities. Done. Yeah, it's setting done to true. Okay, so let's just step through this a little bit and see what's going on. It's not breaking out of this loop. Why not? Done is true. Why would it not break out of this? Oh, do I have these backwards? Okay, so I guess I just have this logic a little bit wrong, but why is it working for inventory then? Not sure. Let's change this to ability done. Let's see, so while either of these are valid, the action used is still valid. So that's the problem and why it's still continuing. Why would it do it here though? So let's see, if we hit D on this one, it should do the same thing. Let's try it with the combat inventory and see if that one bugs out too. Alright, so go fight, go to inventory, hit done. Okay, it doesn't. Yeah, our logic is a little incorrect. Alright, and let's think about why this is incorrect, because this is important. This was definitely in the last few episodes, and as of this recording, no one's pointed it out, so no one else has caught it either, but it's pretty straightforward. Okay, this OR says this entire thing evaluates to true if either of these are true or if any of them are. So we need to do this a little different because we want to break out of this if either are true, basically. So we probably want to go, let's see, this break here will break out of the while loop, but we probably just want to instead, let's see here. Yeah, let's just rework this a little bit. So we'll keep the ability done in there. That's fine. But let's also say, just after this entire switch statement here. So like right here, if action used break. Now what that's going to do, since it's outside the switch statement, is just going to break out of this while loop and then return the action used. We could also optionally say return action used right here. but since we have it at the bottom, we're just going to keep it like that. So we can do that with the combat inventory as well. I think that's going to be the easiest way to do this here. Same thing, if action used, break out of the while loop. Alright, so that should fix that issue, and we should actually be able to dive in there again. Let's test it out. Abilities, get done. Okay, there's that breakpoint. Very good. Let's continue. And we are back in combat. So yeah, now we can go to our abilities and just look at it at will, as we should be able to. And same with inventory. We just want to look at it but not use up our turn. Very well. And there we equipped. And the monster hit us back. So we did use our action there. Alright, cool. Alright, so that fixed a few things. Let's be smart about this and just commit our small things. Fix null ref case on this item manager. Go ahead and commit that and push it. Let's... Oh, we need to commit first. We'll push later. Alright. What are we doing on our main here? We got quite a few changes queued up. But mainly our, let's see, combat inventory. So yeah, we've got several things here. It's kind of hard to break them up in Visual Studio, but there's this piece of software, I talk about it all the time on my channel, called Fork. Support them if you use them, but it lets you, in a single file, like this main, it lets you specify things. Like you can just highlight the section and say, we don't even want that, discard that line. So you can make little individual commits. So on this one, the combat inventory sample, go like this and just stage those changes and just make like fix leaving inventory without action. So we can commit little individual pieces. This one is add combat ability collection. Oh, we're not actually done with this yet, so let's wait actually. So we still need to actually make it do something with this U. Doesn't do anything yet. But we did rename this fight sequence, so that's kind of relevant. Let's go ahead and commit that maybe. Yep. Okay. Name fight sequence. So that's the great thing about Fork, is you can just individually pick little pieces to commit at once. But looks like we're still working on this combat ability, but now that's all that's left there. So let's finish it up before we make all those commits. But yeah, that's super nice. I love it. So let's look at this again. Combat ability selection. Got the name. We were working on the cooldown a little bit, but let's just go ahead and get the use code in here. So what we have to do is return some sort of damage. If it's used, basically, well, it could be damage or it could be healing. So this needs to be a bit modular. This could also put a buff on your player. So we're going to have to expand this a lot. There's no way we're going to get this all done right now. But what we could do as a quick hack is put an int here by reference and say alt effect or alt HP effect. Alright, and that way when we call combat ability selection, we can have a variable prompt and ready of how much HP it affects. And we could say, we could assume something like if it's negative, it's doing damage, or well, I don't know, I gotta think about that, I guess. Maybe we even just have it do its thing directly. Yeah, let's just have it do its thing directly. So, let's say you use the ability. Alright, what do we need to know? If current abilities at the selected ability get HP effect, or well, we need to know self get target, that equals ability target. Yeah, we just need to switch on this basically. Ally, enemy, or self. Basically, we're only using enemy itself right now, so let's just keep it simple. So if it targets an enemy, there's only one enemy, so we can keep it straightforward and say, all right, well, if it targets an enemy, it's a damage effect. Basically, we're just going to keep it that simple. I know it can do more, but we're not going to worry about that. The other case is it's yourself. So if it targets yourself, then it's going to be a heal basically, because those are the only things we do right now. So let's just get the damage and apply it to the monster's health. So I think that's all we're going to do. If we look at our combat logic a little more, fight sequence here, yeah, we do the damage directly in line, so we can just do it right here, and that'll be done in the function. And the only thing we have after we're done is the monster hits us if it's still alive. So let's go ahead and do this. If it's the enemy, let's have them take damage. It's going to be the same as this function basically. Current monster, monster HP reduce, and we want to get the current ability at the selected ability, and then get HP effect basically. And then we want to add the scalar. Now the scalar, there's 3 different scalars. So scalar is a little odd. Yeah, these aren't very well fleshed out, because let's say we use power attack. Let's say we use power attack. Let's look at the warrior's power attack and just see what it does exactly here. Warrior, power attack. It says, if we look at ability, it says it does HP effect of 4, but really it's going to do your current weapon plus 4 is what it meant for it to do. But there's no way to really say that. So whatever, we'll just leave it how it is for now and add the scalar. But we're going to need to do some more logic here, so let's just work it out. Damage, or we'll get a total damage here. It started at 0. And we'll add this to it. Total damage plus equals the HP effect. And then we need to add the scalar. So we'll just like switch on the scalar, I guess. So like this again. Get scalar. That's going to return one of the stats. So case of ability scalar, strength, and we also got index, or we're calling it agility. So there's our cases. The default break at the bottom. If it's the strength, we want to get the main characters .us get strength, or get total strength, and we're going to divide that by 2, because that's generally how we scale everything, 50% basically, which is not necessarily the best scale, but there we go. We can go total damage plus equals that. Just go ahead and scale that right on there, and we'll cast this to an int, because it's going to turn into a float with this divisor. Alright, we do the same thing with the int and agility, except instead of get total strength, it's the other ability. There we go. Now we got that applied. Okay, let's get rid of those extra lines. Oh, there we go. Got the use working. That's if the enemy, or if the target is an enemy. If the target's not an enemy, we're going to the else case, which is basically going to be a heal. And in this case, we're going to go, oh wait, if we do the reduce current, we got to put this total damage at the bottom. There we go. Else, we'll just say here, it's a heal, probably, for now. That's good enough. And we'll do a similar thing. We'll go in total heal equals started at 0. And we'll just do the same thing, the HP effect of the heal. And then do this same switch, except it's all total heal. I imagine most heals are going to scale off intellect, but you never know. We could have some interesting abilities that don't. And at the end, we'll just go main character, heal for total heal. And that should take care of most abilities right there. And we want to make sure that action taken is true after all this too, right? So we go action, use equals true. And that way we will break and we'll know we used our action. There we go. Alright, so let's run this and give it a little test. We'll start out with a wizard. Go to battle, use an ability. Let's use Firebolt. Well, that's not working as intended because the monster has 0 HP, but we're still in combat. So what's going on there? Good question. Good question. So something in our fight sequence is wrong, though. That's pretty safe to assume. definitely not breaking out of this while loop as intended. So why not? Let's put a breakpoint like right here and just have a test. See what's going on. Let's equip. Oh, we got 2 potions. That's a nice start. Okay, let's go to fight. Ability. Use Firebolt. Okay, it goes to this. Let's just skip down a little bit. And it should break. Combat ability selection. Wow, not ability done. Okay. Why is it going back up here? Okay, well, I thought break would get out of the while loop. Oh, okay, I know. It's because this action used needs to also be on the damage one. I only put it on the heal. So if we use it either one, okay, I guess we could even put it like at just right here. So after it does either, it'll just say action used. So we weren't actually breaking. Yes, break will get out of the while loop, but we do have to actually set it. So we were doing this one, which didn't have the ability use or action used set to true. But now either way, if you hit U, it's gonna break out of there. Yep, so that should work. Alright, so let's go ahead and try it again. Wizard. Go to battle, use our ability, use Fireball. You won versus the monster. Cool. So Firebolt's working. Now the thing is, Firebolt, we're just able to use it at will, basically, because we're not actually checking the MP, so we can just Firebolt every time. And it's probably a little OP. Yeah, we could one-shot the monster every time with Firebolt. It's just broken. Wizard broken class. Alright, so let's just check our character. Yeah, we're looking pretty good. Because it does whatever its base damage is plus half your intellect, so it does at least 4 damage every time. Just busted. Let's equip this neck guard, equip these boots. I'm just going to play for a minute. Equip the helmet, equip the boots. And we're done. Alright, let's look at our character sheet. Nice. We are properly decked. And let's, yeah, our attacks aren't very great, but if we go use our Firebolt, we can just insta one-shot every time. Alright, cool. Well, we could pretty much do this endlessly. This monster has... Oh, we leveled up, so we now have Ice Bolt. Cool, let's use Ice Bolt. Sweet. A monster did not spawn. Let's use these healing potions. Oh, we're already full health, so we can't use any more. I don't know why a monster didn't spawn there. Maybe we have some bug. Oh, we do have a... Let's think about this here. When does the monster spawn? Right here. When does the monster place? So yeah, wherever we're placing our monster is not getting triggered, I guess. Or didn't in that case. I don't know what happened there, but the monster was not on the map. Let's see. I guess it would be this. Is there somewhere it can place where it's not on the map? So while it's on top of the player or while it's on top of an X, we redo it and then eventually reset it here. So do this. Current monster equals. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, but we might have a little bug in this create monster code too, it looks like. So stuff to work out, but overall looking pretty good. So next steps, what do we need to do? We need to keep track of MP if you have MP, because using your abilities that take MP, it doesn't actually use it yet, so you can just spam over and over. So Wizard and Cleric are probably just broken. Let's see what else. We need to actually have stuff go on cooldown properly. So, and we need to we can either display the cooldown or only show stuff that's actually ready or something like that. So we still definitely have some issues that need sorted out before this is proper, but we can now use abilities, so that's a pretty big step, and we're out of time. And since this is the final episode, the rest of these edits are going to be up to you guys. If you want me to do more of them, sign up on Patreon. I am going to continue this stuff privately and probably make a little game out of it that maybe I'll eventually release on Steam or something. If you want access to that code, sign up at one of the source levels on Patreon or join here on YouTube. It just helps actually support me. That's got to be it. I definitely want to do more stuff, and I'm going to do it. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I guess I'll say that, yeah, I plan on doing a little graphical interface, but basically doing the same thing, making a little story. And if I can make it at least 10 hours long or so, I'll probably put it out on Steam. Who knows, maybe people will actually play it. But after this, my next big plans are actually to join a game jam and just knock out a game jam or two. So I'll probably make a video or announce in Discord which one I'm joining, and in case anyone wants to join along and make a game as well, or if they allow teams, maybe I can find a few team members. But yeah, that's basically my next plan as far as content on this channel is, or my personal progression, I guess, too, is to game jam it up. All right, well, thanks for watching.